Hello, great to be here again. Hopefully you're enjoying the event. It's the last two sessions left, right? It's just us. So it's just last session between you and the after party. So we'll try to keep it really exciting and short. So let's begin. Today we'll speak about the three pillars for navigation menu optimization. We'll explain it in a very like simple language so everyone understands, but still there are quite useful insights you can implement in your business next day. Let's start with introductions. I think quite important to understand why you may even want to listen to us. And that's me on this picture, and I'm here representing the technical part of e-commerce. So while all the conversion rate optimizers and usually marketing people usually have very great ideas which will improve the store, but usually the bottleneck is on the tech team. So I was playing on the tech side for quite a while where everything is on fire all the time. If you're working with e-commerce, with development, you know what it really means, and it's quite well represented here on the picture. And on the other side, I'm not the only speaker today. I'm with Olga, my great colleague, and she'll be the second speaker today. You'll meet her in a while, and she represents the other side, the angel side of the business. Basically, that's the conversion optimization for usually coming to add a shine to any project like an angel is doing. So that's us, but that's us personally. As such, for quite a long time, we're involved in optimizing the e-commerce store. From 2003, we have spent more than 2.5 million hours optimizing the e-commerce and developing it. Just to give you a bit different look on these numbers, to compare, it's same as, like, it's even more than 285 years. And to give you even like a bit different angle to the thing, it's really like I from here, being in Riga, walking around the world for 114 times. If I look from this perspective, it's really insane. And from all this journey, we understood that that's really like combining our personal experience and our professional experience. We see that navigation menu, that's the one element which makes the huge difference. It can either save or break your full user journey on the site. So here will be a short game presented by Olga, and we'll be switching like that.
Hello. So first of all, it's kind of nice to meet everyone, and thank you for joining our session, and I do hope that you will find it very useful. And yeah, as Gleb's mentioned, we will start by playing a little game, which was actually inspired by a real example, a personal experience I had a while ago. So I'd like you to imagine that you decided to buy yourself a jewelry box. I know for guys it might not be the best example to give, but you can imagine that you want to buy like a box to store your watches, for example. And you come to the home interior website and you open the menu and you see 4 categories: home decor, home accessories, storage, and gifts. And I'd like you to write in the chat which one would be the one that you would go for. First one you'd click to look for this item. So I'll give you just like a few seconds to write a letter and post it into the chat. So I hope that then everyone who wanted to write something had the chance to do that. If not, I'm sorry, I'm now gonna spoil the answer to you. Well, essentially on that exact website, you could find this item only in the category gifts. And I personally experienced friction because my first intention was looking at like accessories and decor and storage, but not gifts, because I was buying it for myself. I didn't think of the gift. And this was the only place you could actually buy this. So in short, this gives you an idea why you actually need to think about where you place your products, what categories, and how you name those categories, because it determines whether the people will be able to find them or not. So yeah, it was quite a pain finding that item. And of course, we all know that you can use a search, but for instance, if it works bad or you're not presenting with all the results, it might not be the best solution. And someone might not even think of searching for something if they don't know the exact name for that product. So they'd rather be guided through the menu navigation. So I will hand it over to Glebs to tell you a little bit more about some exciting numbers that also are related to menu and why you should just care about it.
Yes, enough games for a while. Let's look at numbers, just pure numbers. 7.5 minutes. It's really the numbers, the time, what on average users are spending on e-commerce site by statistics. If you think it's quite a while. It's not 1 second, it's quite a while. But then there is the number 644 seconds. That really is the time what users on average are like how long they're viewing the menu. If you think about it, that's really like already quite short time. So we come from the 7 minutes down to the 6 seconds. And then 50 milliseconds. That's the time what it takes really to form the opinion about the website for the users. Is it really, oh, I think it's great site. Oh, I think it's something I wouldn't even touch about. And like it all goes down to really simple conclusion. You don't have any extra second to lose, and you really need to help visitors to find their product in a shortest possible time. Data tells about it.
So, and to add just to what Glebs told and give you some scientific background, I promise this is the only slide where we're going to talk about science and charts. Well, basically, the longer people have to spend to find your product, the more motivated they have to be. So if it's just an impulse purchase, they most likely will not make it because they will have to spend a lot of efforts trying to find a product. And the Fogg behavioral model explains it very well. Like the harder it is something to do, the more motivated you have to be to do that. And now I'd like you to think where users can get to the certain product faster on your website or your competitor's website. And if it's your competitor's website, that's already the first red flag that you have to take into account and start thinking about actually improving your menu and category tree structure. So if we go further, you think like there's no big difference in the menus, and you can easily find any product using the menu on your website, but how you can really be sure that your users can do the same? And there is no way to answer that question except for actually running menu navigation usability testing. In essence, this is a usability research methodology that allows you to determine whether the navigation matches what your visitors are expecting and whether they're able to understand how to navigate your site and navigate your category tree. And there are actually 3 types of tests. There are way more, but we will talk about the 3 ones that are most popular and that we apply in our daily practice. So first one is cart sorting, then it's tree testing, and the first click testing. And we will walk you through each of them so you can, after the session, can go and already apply them in your work and start optimizing your sites. So the first one is cart sorting, and what it does, it basically helps you to understand how people group your products. We usually use it when we start restructuring menu or building it from scratch. We give people a list of items, which is basically a list of your products, and we ask them to group them into the categories and give those categories certain labels to see how they would name them and what are the parameters that they used to actually group them together. And afterwards, we can see the results and see the mental models, how people actually group those things and which occur most often. And there are actually a lot of ways how to do that. Previously, those were on-site sessions when you would invite people to your office, you would put the sticky notes on the whiteboard, and it would be very fun and interactive. But unfortunately, in the COVID era, that's not really a choice. So you can always run a remote moderated session. There's a lot of tools to do that. Basically, where in the specific tool, user has to group the products, and you can ask them questions, or you can consult them if there's any technical difficulty, and you can get users from anywhere in the world, basically, because you don't have to relocate, which is another great advantage of this method. And what I'd like to share else, here are just a few tools that you can check. So you can start digging into the cart sorting and applying it for your business. And the next test is tree testing, and I will hand it over to Caps.
That's on me. Tree testing is actually a great thing. Since it's usually the first touch point for the testing, it's the best for the websites, for e-commerce stores, with all the occasion navigation when you do not build the navigation from scratch. The first test you would do, that's the tree testing. Since as such, what it is in practice, users are presented with a navigation tree and are asked to choose categories where they would expect to find certain items. One hint, actually, you need to get some 30, 50 participants for test to make it a valid test. But as such, I really suggest for you to check it out in case you never did any navigation testing for you. Run tree testing, use the same tools Olga just suggested on the previous slide. They cover all testing types. Then we go to the last one, the third step, which is first click test. That's actually very straightforward. It's exactly as it sounds. Basically, you test where users are clicking as the first thing to help them to find the product they want to find in the shortest possible period of time. So that's usually the last test you are doing, since it's really worse to do it when you already know your navigation, and then you want to make it really shiny to ensure that the item what you put on the first line are really the right items. For this test, you would need a bit less users. Usually it's enough for 15 participants. That's enough. These were like the 3 steps what you usually apply to test navigation. If you never did it, as already mentioned, start with the second thing, and we'll also drop you like the list of all the things and the list of the tools to use later, so you can do it on your own. Now I'm switching.
It's me again. And basically, if you don't have time for testing, or you think you don't have a budget for testing, or you don't believe in user testing for some reason, there are different mistakes we see retailers are making on the website. So we summarized 5 of them that are most common ones, and that can give you when fixing those, they can bring you quite a good improvement on your user experience on your website. So let's go through them, and you can later write in the chat whether there was any mistakes that you're currently doing on your website. So the first one is hiding your main categories. It's very bad to hide the categories from users, because it can increase the time for them to understand what you're selling, especially if you're not a worldwide famous brand, or if a new visitor came to your website who never heard of your brand. And it can also increase the time required to actually get to the product, because first they need to figure out where the products are. And if we look at the example, imagine you don't know who Argos is, and that the very big retailer. You come to their website, you see that, okay, there's outdoor toys. I see the banner about outdoor toys. So do they sell outdoor toys and like outdoor equipment and some toys? So, okay, maybe. But if we open the shop, well, actually they do not. They sell like technology, furniture, appliances, different sport and leisure products. They sell a lot of stuff, but you would never know it if you wouldn't click on that shop. So, and the first impression that they sell toys can actually spoil the entire experience. So here's another example of hiding things under the hamburger menu. And as Nielsen Norman Group found, people were less likely to use hidden menus at the beginning of the task rather than later during the tasks. So hamburger menu can kind of stop people from shopping, or it's easier, it's harder for them to get into the funnel using it. So, but it's a very common pattern on mobile, you'd say, and how we can avoid it. You cannot avoid it, but we can definitely improve it. And instead of actually hiding all of the points of how people can get into the shopping behavior funnel, you can actually present them with all the products, see how Glossier does it on both mobile and desktop. You can see that they're displaying main categories and main products that they have. They have call to actions. And actually, the hamburger menu is a secondary element that supports the flow. It's not something that is the only element on how to start shopping. And about the next issue, I will ask Leps to tell me.
Second issue is offering too many options. Why it's bad? Since nobody really likes to think too much. You're becoming red, like me now, when you're thinking too deeply, too much about something. So it's like, while on one side, there's this hiding your categories is bad. On another side, offering too many options is very bad as well. So here's a few examples. You can see they just put all their possible categories on the above the fold as the first category line, and it just takes me time to understand where to click. Here is a bit better example. Instead of doing like it was suggested on the previous screenshot, limit the number of categories to 7. That according to the report published by famous cognitive psychologists, the human mind is capable of storing only 7 items. Actually, 7 plus minus 2. So it can be from 5 to 9, actually. If you're not sure how many categories to put on the first line, put 7 or 5 or 9, but not more. Here is a better example of how merchants are approaching that. So most probably these guys did the first click user test already. We can see in this example they really put the right, like this are actually the examples from the similar industries as we were showing on the bad cases. These guys are doing it right. You can compare them. They really understood what are these main categories I want to highlight, and they put them like on the surface. They do not hide it, since it's not logical to hide them. Let's go next.
So talking about hiding, it's not good to hide from users where they are, because, well, it decreases their sense of the control over the system and over the website, and it makes them feel a little bit lost, and we don't like to feel lost, right? So here is an example from one website. Can you guess actually which first level category is now open? Is it men? Is it women? Is it kids? It's not clear. Can you be certain that the correct one was open? It's not clear. And this is actually a very common mistake. So if we look at this, we cannot just from a glance, we don't know which category we're looking at. Instead of doing this, try and give visual clues to people where they are. After all, when we come to the shopping mall, we get those maps and we use those maps, especially if we're in the store for the first time and we're looking for a specific shop we'd like to visit. Just apply the similar practice on your website, just tailor it a little bit. So what you could do is actually highlight the first level, second level, and category items where people are currently, and change the appearance of the links and hover. And that's pretty easy. That's a quick solution, but it really improves user experience a lot. Let's go next.
Using low contrast colors is very bad, since let's say an example, nothing much to tell really here, but you will see it yourself. Since when you try to make your website fancy or really look super modern, really frequently the designers forget about the navigation. They try to add some background there, and usually it's low contrast colors. At the end, it's very hard to read the text. While these examples like look okay, but they may not take into account that one day the image in the background can be whiter, then you won't be able to see the navigation items as well. I really like the next example. This one. Guess how many navigation menu items are here? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you think it's correct? Maybe, maybe not, since they have them here as well. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and even there, like the most important thing, like the shopping bag, it's hidden as well. So that's why the low contrast colors are really bad. And there is a really simple solution for it. Instead of doing it in the wrong way, you can just add the contrast to the navigation menu. You still can keep your website look very modern with the full width images, but just do not forget about putting the contrast. We actually did the same error on our website once putting the navigation, the video under the navigation items, and then this video was white, navigation items were white. Don't repeat our errors. That's why we are here, to learn from all the errors we're seeing around us.
So, and continuing with cool design ideas that are not always working towards the conversion, another mistake is getting too creative with the layout. Of course, it's a great way that can help you stand out from the crowd and communicate uniqueness of your brand. But with all the fun, you shouldn't forget that online store is actually a system, and users came to meet certain needs. So being too creative and using unfamiliar patterns on the website can cause high drop-offs and losses to the potential revenue. And let's look at the practical example. Here's a website. Looks pretty modern, it catches an eye, but how do you use it? Where do you think is the navigation on the desktop? Well, actually, it's in the bottom left corner. So how many seconds did it took you to understand that it's there, or you understood it when I said it? But basically, if we come back to the earlier slide where we were talking about like 6 seconds and 50 milliseconds to get the first impression of the website, was it faster to understand that the menu is located in the left bottom corner? If we go to the menu, what is actually this? I don't know, this brand, is this their logo or is this a hamburger menu? Should I be trying to figure this out, or I will go somewhere else where it's pretty straightforward? Well, it's your decision. What would you do? But how you can still be fashionable and modern and up to date in terms of the design, let's look at this example. Byte is a kind of startup. They sell like modern toothpaste and all that stuff. They look pretty modern to me. They look very stylish, and I want to explore the page. Yet they kept all the familiar patterns for the user. You see the menu, you see the shopping cart, you see the calls to action. There are a lot of touch points that can help get users into shopping funnel. And after all, for e-commerce, it's all that matters, the conversion. So those were our top 5 mistakes that we see retailers do quite a lot. You can write in the chat if any of those mistakes you actually see on your website, or if there are any other mistakes that you observed. But we also wanted to give you something practical that you can use to evaluate your menu. And for that, we prepared a quick checklist that will help you identify whether you should start working on your menu and optimizing your menu to improve the user experience. And after all, great UX is one of the keys to customer satisfaction and retention. So here are some questions that you can answer on your own. You can make a screenshot, and we will share the slides later. So basically, you should answer whether you're using labels for your icons, whether the how your first and second level menu items are sorted. Is it sticky? Do you include important information such as customer support and store locator to the page? Whether all the links are easily tappable and there are big enough spaces, because sometimes you can see that you can hardly tap, especially like a big man and with big hands. It's kind of hard to tap on, like, I don't know, 10 pixel item. So you can read all those, answer the questions, and start optimizing right away by applying some of the techniques that we shared today. And if you want an extended checklist or you need help any of them, you can get in touch with me or Plebs.
Thank you. That's it from us. Thanks, everyone. Hope you now also enjoy the Q&A session with Olga. See you on After Party.